today. UFC 318 is upon us, where in the main event, Max Holloway will step back into the octagon for the third time with the retiring legend, the future Hall of Famer, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, there in New Orleans, Louisiana. Also, what about the co-main event, where Paulo Costa steps into the octagon with Roman Kopylov? I don't know. I won't believe Paulo Costa is actually going to fight. I won't believe he actually is going to make that walk until I see it. Until he sets a foot inside the octagon, until Boots is on the ground, I won't believe it. Also, Big Mouth Kevin Holland's fighting. All of this and more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. What's up? What's happening? Let's go. What's up, guys? We right back at it. We right back with it. It's your boy, Matt, and we're here to go over UFC 318, which goes down in New Orleans, Louisiana, where in the main event, Max Holloway steps back into the octagon for the third time with Dustin the Diamond Poirier. But first, shout out to the Black Beast Derek Lewis, who goes out there and makes short work of Taliesin Teixeira at the last card. This was a card that didn't have a lot of high stakes, not a lot of big names on it, but it shows you that even with those cards, those men and women went out there. They had a lot of finishes. They put on a lot of fun fights. It was outstanding to see. Might have been a early stoppage in the main event for Teixeira, but nevertheless, the Black Beast emerges victorious and even has people touting that maybe he gets a world title shot against Tommy Aspinall. Whether or not that's deserved, I don't know. Would it sell? It just might. Nevertheless, let's go on. Let's move on. The UFC 318. Max Holloway attempts to finally defeat Dustin Poirier in his retirement fight. Dustin's retirement fight, that is. So, first time these two men met, they were a lot younger, a lot earlier in their career. Dustin emerges victorious. Second time, a lot of stakes, a lot of things on the line. Dustin Poirier faced Max Holloway, defeated him to become the interim lightweight champion of the world when Max moved up to lightweight to challenge him for that championship. The undisputed champion was, of course, Khabib Nurmagomedov. Bro, on that night, in a phrase that he remixed from the great Teddy Atlas from boxing, former trainer of Mike Tyson, on that night, Dustin Poirier had 25 minutes to make life fair. 25 minutes to make up for all the losses he had taken, not in the octagon, but in real life. All the knockdowns, all the times ends couldn't meet, all the times he was broke, all the times he was poor, all the times that he felt inadequate, all the times that his wife had to make up for his shortcomings. He had 25 minutes to make life fair and become the interim champion of the world, and he did that. And more power to him. Shout out to him. And later on this week, I'm starting my series that I spoke about before called Low Key Legends, where we're going to be talking about, and even though I know Dustin being a legend is not that low key, I'm going to talk about the reasons and the things that made him a low key legend to people in my hood. You know, people from the other side of the track. You know what I'm talking about? That's what we're going to be discussing. Nevertheless, with all of that being said, and I know it's his retirement fight, I know all of his family, friends, and everybody's going to be there. I'm a tremendous, huge fan of both of these men, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to pick Max Holloway to go out there and defeat Dustin Poirier. Because I believe something that has changed in these two men. You have to understand, Max Holloway has never talked about seeing the finish line yet. Max Holloway has never talked about seeing the light at the end of that tunnel being retirement, putting down the gloves, right? Max Holloway says he wants to make a run for the lightweight championship. Now, granted, that got a lot more complicated and a much longer road for him now that Ilia Topuria is the lightweight champion. But even with that being said, Topuria might end up moving up to welterweight. Who knows? And it could give Max Holloway an opportunity a lot faster than we all think. But I think Max Holloway's going to go out there and win. I feel when they met the last time they met years prior to now, I feel at that time Dustin was at his most hungry. I feel like Dustin had something to prove. He wanted to show everyone, he wanted to prove to everyone that he could realize becoming a champion. And even though it was for an interim championship, it secured him a shot against Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? And I believe at that moment, Max was riding high on being the featherweight champion, and I don't really feel like Max had a clear and precise destination at that time. I feel like he was just the defending featherweight champion. He was being talked about with the greats because he had already defeated Jose Aldo twice. And I think this was just a roll of the dice and he wanted to see what happened. And it didn't work out for him that night. Dustin defeated him. But I just feel like at that point in time, Dustin was far more hungrier and had a lot more to prove. Now, this is Dustin's swan song. He's already going to be a Hall of Famer, right? He's already the interim champion of the world. He had 2 chances to try to become the lightweight champion of the world, once against Khabib Nurmagomedov, which he secured that gilly. He secured that gilly and kind of scared everyone on Khabib. But nevertheless, he also had the shot against Charlie Olive's Charles Oliveira. Both of them, he came up short. Then he went on to defeat Conor McGregor two more times, and really secured the bag. Financially became secure for the rest of his life, right? He goes out there, has a tremendous fight with Justin Gaethje, has a tremendous fight against Islam Makhachev. Oh, wait, I forgot about that. How could I forget? The other time Dustin fought for the world championship, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Charles Oliveira, and also Islam Makhachev, and gave Makhachev a really, really, really good fight. Bro, Dustin Poirier has done it all, right? He's done it all, bro. And at the end of the day, I feel like this is his swan song. He gets to go out in front of his family. But the age-old thing is, man, most of the time when you're on your retirement fight, unless you're that dude, Robbie, Ruthless Lawler, you know what I'm saying? Ruthless Robbie Lawler. Most of the time, bro, you're not going to go out on a high note in your last fight. But you can go out there, put on a good showing, take that L, and get clapped up by all of your fans, all of your friends, and all of your family members. And that's what I see happening here. I feel like that the more recent Max Holloway is more suited for lightweight. I feel like he looked stronger, he looked sharper, his body looked better. He just all around looked more healthy at lightweight. And he had put on muscle for his lightweight fight against Justin Gaethje for the BMF championship. And I felt like it just wasn't the best idea to go down and fight Ilia Topuria. But, at that time, it hadn't been signed, sealed, and delivered that Topuria was that dude. So, I thought Max has definitely got a chance. Now, in this fight, I think Max Holloway goes out there and finally defeats Dustin Poirier in the main event. I think it's going to be a 5-round decision going the way of Max Holloway. Nevertheless, let's move on. Shout out to Dustin Poirier. I am sad that, I am picking against him as I'm checking my notes, but it just kind of is what it is, man. I think Max has got this one. Let's move on. Co-main event. Paulo Costa steps in there with Roman Kopylov. I got Roman Kopylov all day. I know he's had a few mistakes, a few trips, a few wobbles, but he don't fall down. And at this point in Paulo Costa's career, Paulo Costa can never make it to the octagon. He always gets these weird, strange, catastrophic injuries before being able to enter. You know, he has trouble making weight. It's just his career now is just like, I don't know what the F is going on. I couldn't even tell you how many more fights he has in him. I'm not saying he should retire. You just don't know anything about Paulo Costa. You know what I'm saying? You don't know when he's going to go out there and really put it all on, put it all together and have an outstanding fight, or when he's going to go out there and be a shell of himself. You don't really know. With that being said, I don't even know if this fight's going to take place, but I'm going to go along with Roman Kopylov to go out there and get the win. I don't think he finishes Paulo Costa, but I think he secures a 3-round decision. Let's move on to another fight I really want to see, mainly because it's Kevin Holland. Big mouth Kevin Holland stepping in the octagon. Once again, this is killer Kevin Holland. This is welterweight Kevin Holland, world beater, stepping in the octagon with Daniel Rodriguez. Man, I got Kevin Holland all day. Shout out to D-Rod. I know D-Rod's coming off of a win, but dude, I mean, bro, I got to give it up to Kevin Holland. I had kind of written off Kevin Holland, you know what I'm saying? But I just was not, I had to re-familiarize myself with welterweight Kevin Holland, because that dude is a different animal. You know what I'm saying? Welterweight Kevin Holland waits for you by the door that you walk out of the lunch line in school. He's waiting right there at that door. So after you've already paid for your lunch and got the food, you come walking out. Kevin Holland slaps you across the cheek, grabs the tray of food before it hits the floor, goes over there and eats it. And as he's leaving the lunchroom, he looks at you and says, "I'll see you again tomorrow." And that's what happens, you know what I'm saying? Welterweight Kevin Holland, he built different. I got to go along with him. Next, at featherweight, we got Dan Ige stepping in the octagon with Patricio Pitbull. Bro, I touted I was really excited to see Pitbull in the octagon when he stepped in there against Yair Rodriguez. I know Dan Ige is a total different fighter, total different set of tasks than Yair Rodriguez, but I didn't like what I saw from Pitbull. I don't know, might have waited till a little bit too late in his career to enter the octagon. Dan Ige is no joke. He is no slouch. Yeah, Dan Ige would take a few losses in a row and then come out there and put on the performance of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? This is how Dan Ige is. Extremely skilled fighter. I got Dan Ige to go out there and get the win. Next, we got fastest hands in the business, Michael Johnson stepping in the octagon with Daniel Zellhuber. This fight is probably going to be a banger. This fight, I think, is going to be a banger. And I'm going to go along. I'm going to shock everyone. I'm going to go along with the upset. I'm going to go along with the vet, Michael Johnson, to win this fight. He's looked a lot better in like his last 2 fights. I feel like he's on a roll. I feel like he's finally put it all together. And I know he's not going to make a championship run or anything like that. But I think the savvy vet of Michael Johnson has what it takes to go out there and defeat Zellhuber. I mean, keep it real. Daniel Zellhuber, he's got that range. He's got the reach. You know, he's got fast hands as well. But I think he can kind of get lost up in the dog part of the fight, the dog fight, you know what I'm saying? And I think Michael Johnson is a little bit more poised at this point in his career to not just instantly go out there and engage in a dog fight, but lure Zellhuber into believing we're about to have a dog fight and then technically pick him apart. So I'm going to go along with Michael Johnson to get the win. Let's see, we got Kyler Phillips stepping in there with Vinny Oliveira. My guy, Vinny Oliveira. I got Vinny Oliveira all day to go out there and get the win. This fight's at bantamweight. You know, Kyler Phillips is the type of guy that when he's on, he looks good, but when he's off, he loses in spectacular fashion. So I got Vinny Oliveira to go out there and get the win. How about Marvin Vettori stepping in there with Brendan Allen? For this one, I'm actually going to go along with Marvin Vettori because Brendan Allen has terrible fight IQ, just simply terrible. When he's winning on the feet, he always decides to go to the ground. And if he starts winning on the ground, he decides to go back to the feet. He has horrible fight IQ. He's an outstanding fighter, but his fight IQ generally causes him to take a lot of L's. And I think Marvin Vettori is a very simple game plan, a very simple set of skills, but a very effective set of skills. You know what I'm saying? He like Liam Neeson when you take his daughter. You know what I'm saying? When you take Liam Neeson's daughter and he hits you with that phone call and lets you know he has a very specific set of skills to handle things like this, that's what Marvin Vettori has in this fight. I got Marvin Vettori, the blockhead, to go out there and get the win. Another fight that I'm kind of interested in seeing, just because I think it's going to be a banger while it's happening, and then it's going to end pretty quickly and swiftly. Maybe due to a submission or in a violent manner. Francisco Prado stepping in the octagon with Nicolay. Let's call him Nicolay V, because I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and I don't want to make this gentleman angry. So, here's the thing, man. Just taking a look at this. Nicolay is coming off of a loss to Austin Vanderford. And I know that's like, bro, you lost to Austin Vanderford. That aside, Prado is undersized at welterweight. Prado will go out there, he will throw hands. I think he's got a little bit of dog in him. He's ready to go out there and engage, but his dimensions, his range, his reach, his height, I think he's definitely undersized for welterweight. So I'm going to go along with Nicolay to go out there and get the win, even though he's coming off of a horrible loss. Finally, last fight I want to check out. This is a fight that is set up to end quickly and violently, and I just really want to see it because I really want to see if the UFC is going to be able to set this gentleman up to go out there and possibly become... It's too early to say he's going to be a star at this weight class and he's unproven, but I think he's going to go out there and get a whole lot of guys cold, slabbed, and toe tagged. We talking about Atiba Gauthier from Cameroon, the newest guy on the block from Cameroon in the UFC. Shout out to Frank the Tank, Francis Ngannou. Stepping in the octagon with Robert Valentine. Bro, this fight was set up for Robert to get his head taken. That's just what this is. I think his head's going to get knocked into, let's say, beyond the first row of seats. I think about the sixth row is where his head is going to land, right in somebody's lap. You know what I'm saying? Gauthier, if I'm pronouncing his last name right, and I probably am saying it wrong, is this dude has Thor's hammer in his fist. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no thing. He could launch the head to the 15th row if he wanted to. But I think he's going to be modest and only send his head to the 6th row. So we're going to check this out. These are the fights that I'm interested in seeing in UFC 318. Once again, main event. I know, unpopular pick. I got Max Holloway to go out there and finally get a win over Dustin the Diamond Poirier. I'm so excited to see this. So excited to see Dustin's last fight. Please like, subscribe, comment. Let me know who you got in the main event. What you think's going to happen. And once again, I do want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I check you next time.